Hello, the internet. As of this year, 2025, I am 55 years old. Not doing bad. According to the spreadsheet that I keep, I play about 200 RPGs every year. This year was 234 in 62 different systems. Playing games is clearly something that I love to do. And when I find something that I love to do, I kind of hyper focus on it a bit. Like when I did theater and improv 5 nights a week for like 10 years a while ago. In 5 years, which will be 2030, which is the future, um, I'm going to be 60 years old. By the middle of this century, which is the 21st century, which is also the future, which is 2050, which seems ridiculous, I'm going to be 80 years old, assuming that everything goes reasonably well. I don't know if I'll be able to keep up the same breakneck pace that I've been doing for the next 25 years, unless I start doing yoga or something. But let's say that I do. That means that I've got about 5,000 game sessions left in me at best. I know that not everyone is as bonkers about this kind of thing as I am, although I know a few of you are. But I bet you could crack open your own personal box of existential dread and come up with the same kind of number for yourself. So the big question is, what are those 5,000 games going to be? And I don't necessarily mean precisely what systems or what adventures or whatever I'll be running or playing. I've got some ideas. Um, I mean, there's no way that I could have predicted my favorite games that I played this past year, like Slug Blaster or Heart or Trophy, or the games I'm going to be playing in the coming year, Triangle Agency or Ultraviolet Grasslands, Hell Whalers, Last Train to Bremen, any of that stuff. I couldn't have predicted that 10 years ago. So I don't think there's any reason to think that I'd be able to predict what kinds of things will even be available to play in the next 5, 10, 20 years. I mean, what kind of experience do I want to have at the gaming table? Whether it's an actual table or like a Zoom virtual table. Um, how do I want to feel when I'm playing games? And how do I want other people at my table to feel? So, back up a second. For background on myself, I started playing tabletop role playing games with the Dungeons and Dragons basic box set, the one with the blue book with a dragon on the cover. I think it's the Holmes set. That was around 83 or 84. Um, and in fact, the year before, a friend of mine came back from summer vacation telling us about a game that his brother had run for him. And so we decided to kind of make up our own rules and start playing it before we even saw a book. So starting early. But yeah, back then I played all the usuals: Dungeons and Dragons, Traveler, Gamma World, Star Frontiers. Played some Top Secret, 007. Played some Gangbusters, a lot of Marvel superheroes, some Paranoia and Hunter Planet, if you know that one. Twilight 2000, Cyberpunk. I think it was 2020 at that point. Um, Played a lot of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, some of the Palladium Robotech stuff, a lot of Car Wars and BattleTech, if you count that, which I kind of do. Then in college, played a lot more, played a lot of Shadowrun, ran a lot of Call of Cthulhu, played a lot of Rifts for some reason, and a bunch of homebrew stuff. And then after college, I just kind of stopped for a while. Um, I missed out on the whole vampire, edgy White Wolf 90s stuff because I was, living in Manhattan and then San Francisco and had a lot of real life stuff to do. And I got more into board games and video games. And, I missed a decade or so of RPGs. And then around 2005 or so, I was doing some research for a video game project and I came across the acronym DITV. I didn't know what that was, so I Googled around a bit. I think Googler was around. I Googled around a bit and came across Dogs in the Vineyard. and Vincent Baker and The Forge and all that stuff. And it was kind of all downhill from there, or back uphill, I guess. Um, so yeah, I dove into The Forge and the whole story game scene and that community pretty hard for another 10 or 15 years because that's what I do. Um, and then COVID hit 2020 and everyone stayed home. And I got to play even more games somehow. I mean, I know how. Um, since 2020, I've played like 95% of my games online. It lets me get into more games with more people in more places real easily. And so I can just do it more often. And I don't see that stopping anytime soon. And yeah, so these days I play all the usual suspects, Apocalypse World and all the PBTA stuff, like Masks and Ironsworn, Night Witches, Firebrands, Passiones, the Passions, um, Blades in the Dark, all the Forge in the Dark stuff, like Slug Blaster, which is great, Cyber plus Punk, Mountain Home, Beam Saber. I've only actually played Default Blades once and recently, but it's all real good. I play a lot of the OSR and sort of XSR adjacent stuff, whether it's fantasy or science fiction, Morkborg or Mothership, Mouse Raider, Mecha Hack, Cairn, Cloud Empress, Shadow Dark, which is really great, and just indie stuff in general. Cthulhu Dark, Trophy Dark, Trophy Gold, Zone, Brindlewood Bay, The Between, all the Gauntlet stuff, Desperation and all the Bully Pulpit stuff, Deathmatch Island, Honey Heist, Cyrun, Rune, Stewpot, Orbital, Fall of Magic, Zaba's Bed and Breakfast, all the belonging stuff, Lancer, Quiet Year, GM-less stuff, stuff with GMs, solo stuff. I even do a Dungeon and a Dragon every once in a while. Just like 100 other games, they're all different and amazing, and they do different specific things for people. Play a lot of LARPs, not as much as I'd like. I spent a week in the desert last year, so I guess that counts. But yeah, just like a lot of stuff. So that's right now. Um, what about the future? I mean, I'm having a great time right now with lots of great people, but my tastes have clearly shifted, and evolved since high school to college, to indie games to all the amazing stuff happening on itch and everywhere else right now. um, and I feel pretty good about where things are going. um, I don't know how things are going to change, or what things are going to change, both with games and with myself. The RPG landscape has shifted immensely over the last 20, 40 years. And there's absolutely no way for me to even pretend to know what's going to happen next. But there are some things I do know. I know I don't want to get bored, and I don't want to bore other people. I don't want to feel bad when I'm playing games. The bad kind of bad, not the good kind of bad, because there's games for that. And I don't want to make other people feel bad when they're playing, or anytime else, right? Um, I want to play games with old friends and kind of rediscover what we've got together there. I don't want to play more games with current friends that I don't get to play games with often or at all. And I want to continue to meet new awesome people that I don't even know about yet. Places like the Gauntlet or Open Hearth or at Games on Demand conventions, and all the other communities and discords, that all provide all these great opportunities for people to meet new people to play together. Um, and honestly, I want to play with more kinds of different people, right? I mean, a lot of the tables that I wind up at are filled with people that look pretty much like me. And I know that when we fill our tables with a wider variety of people and diverse kinds of folks, things are just better for everyone, in addition to just being good in general, right? So I want everyone to feel included, and encouraged to play with us, and I want to continue to learn how to create more opportunities for that to happen. Um, and I want to play with people who don't even know what an RPG is, to introduce them to a new hobby that they might fall in love with and get obsessed with, like I am. And I want to keep bringing new games to people who maybe haven't had the opportunity to try different things or haven't, don't even know that there is different things to try. Um, I want to continue telling stories, that together that touch us, and I want to explore things that you can't easily explore in other media. I want to keep creating and designing and curating experiences that help us understand ourselves and each other better. Um, but most of all, I just want to keep playing. Play is one of the most important things that a human being can do, or any animal, I guess. And when we don't find the time or make the time and space to play, we kind of seize up and get all stiff and creaky and cranky, and I don't want that to happen. So who knows? Maybe continuing to play everything I can get my hands on will help me push through those next 5,000 sessions onto something beyond. We'll see. We'll see what happens. So, what are my 5,000 games? I don't know. Uh, but I've got a couple dozen things lined up for the next year. I've got a bunch of things on my calendar already. January is looking pretty packed. And so I guess I'll just start there and see what happens. So, yeah, thanks for hanging out and watching. I hope you come back and we see you some more soon. Goodbye, the internet.